The new kid walked into Edison Middle School like any other 14-year-old, backpack slung low, head down, trying to disappear. But in a hallway ruled by chaos, his quiet presence painted a target. Students shouted, lockers slammed, and whispers trailed him like shadows, picking apart his every move. He didn't fight. He didn't react. And that, in a school where silence was weakness, made him a mark for the loudest, cruelest boys in the 8th grade. They didn't know his past. They didn't know his skill. They didn't know the storm that waited behind those calm brown eyes. Before the story unfolds, hit subscribe, tap like, and comment how you would react if the quiet kid in your school faced relentless bullies. Now, let's dive into what happened next. Edison Middle School was a jungle of noise and motion, a place where the loudest claimed territory and silence invited attack. The new boy moved like a shadow through the chaos, small and slim, curly hair bouncing slightly as he walked. Every eye in the hallway scanned him, cataloging his posture, his hesitation, his quietness. To most, he looked like an easy target. A quiet black boy with light brown skin, shying away from confrontation, seemingly unaware of the unspoken rules of survival in this big city school. By lunchtime, word had spread about the new arrival. Whispers of curiosity and mockery followed him to the cafeteria. The loudest 8th grade boys, led by a bigger, aggressive teen named Marcus, noticed him first. Flanked by his friends Jamal and Trent, they studied him from across the crowded room, calculating, plotting, sizing up the threat or what they assumed was a lack of one. The cafeteria erupted with typical chaos. Trays clanged, laughter bounced off walls, and teachers struggled to maintain control. Amidst it all, the new boy chose a small corner table, isolating himself from the commotion. His calmness was unnatural for a student of his age in such an environment, and the bullies sensed a challenge. Silence, they had learned, was either weakness or arrogance. They didn't know which he was yet. By the end of lunch, the first test began. The new boy's quiet defiance, simply existing without panic, had marked him in the eyes of Marcus. It wasn't a battle yet. It wasn't even a confrontation. But the stage had been set for one, and in the tension-filled hallways of Edison Middle School, it would only escalate from there. The next day, the hallways of Edison Middle School were even more alive with anticipation. Students whispered about the new boy who moved like he belonged, nowhere and everywhere at once. His calm demeanor had caught attention, and the loudest 8th grade boys, Marcus, Jamal, and Trent, were ready to see if the quiet kid was as fragile as he appeared. They cornered him near the lockers, 3 shadows against his small frame. The hallway's usual chaos felt different now, slower, tense, almost silent around them, as if the school itself was holding its breath. He didn't flinch. He didn't raise his fists. He simply stared forward, small but unyielding, a silent signal that he wasn't reacting to fear. He was watching, calculating. Lunchroom rumors had preceded him into this moment. Students on either side watched from a distance, phones in hands, mouths half opened in anticipation. Marcus, the biggest and loudest, stepped closer, puffed chest and glaring eyes, attempting to provoke. The quiet boy didn't react. His refusal to respond created unease among the group. Jamal and Trent exchanged nervous glances. Their leader's confidence faltered for the first time, replaced with irritation. The first shove came swift and aggressive. The hallway rattled with the collision, yet the new boy remained composed, steady, unaffected. His avoidance of the physical attack was precise, fluid, practiced. Each movement calculated, silent, a stark contrast to the clumsy, desperate aggression of the bullies. Students paused mid-step, phones hovering, captivated by the strange, almost cinematic calm of his reactions. The shove failed to break him. A second attempt, more forceful, met the same result. He shifted just enough to redirect momentum, keeping himself balanced while the instigator staggered. The crowd felt it. This was no ordinary 14-year-old. This was someone trained, disciplined, someone who had endured before and would endure again. The boys' laughter faltered, replaced by tension, curiosity, and a hint of fear. As the confrontation ended, the new boy moved past them, calm as ever. No words, no threats, no overreaction. Just controlled silence, leaving Marcus, Jamal, and Trent to digest the unexpected reality. The word spread quickly among the students. This kid was different. He wasn't easy to provoke. He wasn't weak. He wasn't just another target. But the quietness, the calm, And the precision were all the wrong signals for the bullies. In their minds, silence was submission. In reality, it was preparation. And the storm that Marcus and his friends had unknowingly summoned was only beginning to show its first signs. By the end of that school day, the new boy's quiet demeanor had already stirred whispers throughout. Edison Middle School. But nothing was as dangerous as the alley behind the building, a shortcut students used to catch buses, a place where chaos often went unchecked. Marcus had been waiting. Flanked by Jamal and Trent, he stepped into the alley with all the bravado of a predator hunting prey. The new boy, backpack slung over his shoulder, approached calmly, neither rushed nor hesitant. His posture remained straight, controlled, every step measured, silent, a demonstration of confidence that didn't need words. The three bullies blocked the narrow path. The alley's walls echoed with distant traffic and the occasional shout of students leaving the school grounds. To anyone watching, it looked like a typical confrontation. But the new boy exuded a strange presence. Composed, disciplined, aware of every movement around him. Marcus lunged first, a wild swing aimed to intimidate. The new boy stepped aside fluidly, slipping under the punch without striking back. He didn't flinch. He didn't panic. The precision of his movement was almost imperceptible to the untrained eye, but the effect was unmistakable. Marcus stumbled forward, unbalanced, unprepared for such calculated control. Jamal and Trent hesitated, their confidence wavering. Phones were pulled, hands trembling slightly, capturing the moment they hadn't expected. The new boy remained calm, breathing steady, muscles relaxed, watching, analyzing, predicting. The quiet had transformed into a weapon more potent than brute force. Marcus swung again, harder, trying to compensate for his initial humiliation. The new boy pivoted, guiding Marcus's momentum harmlessly into an empty wall, ensuring control without unnecessary harm. Another stagger, another step backward for the bullies. It was a dance of discipline versus aggression, one they couldn't understand. The alley became a stage, every move precise, every step measured. The new boy's calm was magnetic, commanding respect even without a word. Jamal and Trent's laughter had long since faded, replaced by hesitation. Marcus, for the first time, felt fear not for himself physically, but for his pride, his control, and the certainty that he had misjudged the boy before him. After several tense seconds, the new boy finally stepped aside. He didn't celebrate. He didn't gloat. He simply walked down the alley, leaving the stunned bullies behind, their confidence shattered and their plans undone. Students nearby who had been hiding, watching from corners, whispered in disbelief. The quiet kid wasn't what they expected. He wasn't weak. He wasn't ordinary. This was just the beginning. The alley confrontation became the first proof that the new boy was someone the school had never seen before, someone whose calm, composed silence carried a weight far, heavier than the loudest voices in Edison Middle School. And while Marcus and his friends nursed their wounded pride, a storm was quietly building for the next encounter, a storm they would not anticipate, and one that would test the limits of their arrogance and the boys' unparalleled discipline. 2 days after the alley confrontation, tension had spread through Edison Middle School like wildfire. Whispers, rumors, and hushed conversations followed the quiet boy wherever he went. Marcus's pride had been wounded, his humiliation still fresh. He wasn't about to let it go. He and his friends, Jamal and Trent, planned a trap. The gym office was empty, a perfect setting for isolation. The hallway leading to it was quiet, the usual school chaos replaced by a heavy stillness. The new boy approached, calm as ever, backpack over one shoulder, eyes scanning the corridor. He sensed the anticipation in the air but did not react outwardly. This was a place where panic could mean defeat, and he did not panic. Marcus blocked the doorway first, followed by Jamal and Trent. Behind them, 3 more 8th graders, recruited as observers and backup, created a living wall. The quiet boy was surrounded, 1 against 6. The air was tense, charged with energy, the kind of silence that precedes a storm. Without warning, the 6 boys lunged. Their attacks were wild, uncoordinated, driven by anger and ego rather than skill. Each punch and shove carried the weight of arrogance. But the quiet boy did not flinch. He moved with a calm precision, dodging, pivoting, and redirecting force in ways that made the chaos around him seem slow motion. A swing aimed at his head was sidestepped. A shove from the side was guided harmlessly into another attacker. Momentum was his ally. Control was his weapon. The boy's aggression only made him more precise, each movement measured, efficient and deliberate. He did not strike to hurt. He struck to neutralize. Each redirect, each pivot, each careful maneuver demonstrated skill beyond his years. The climactic moment came when Marcus, desperate to reclaim authority, grabbed a broom and swung with full force. In one swift movement, the quiet boy grabbed the pole, twisted, and snapped it in half with controlled strength. Time seemed to freeze. The 6 boys froze, mid-step, wide-eyed, their confidence evaporating instantly. He did not gloat. He did not smile. He stepped back, breathing steadily, standing small but unyielding. The alley had tested patience. The hallway had tested poise. Now the gym office had tested skill, and the quiet boy had passed every challenge with absolute mastery. The principal arrived moments later, summoned by the commotion. The bullies attempted to shift blame, but the truth, captured on a student's phone outside the glass, was irrefutable. The quiet boy had not escalated. He had defended. He had not attacked recklessly. He had neutralized. The principal's eyes softened as he reviewed the footage. In that moment, the quiet boy's skill, discipline, and restraint became undeniable. Marcus, Jamal, and Trent faced suspension, while the quiet boy walked out of the office, calm, unshaken, his reputation transforming in real time. The school now saw him differently, not as prey, but as someone remarkable, disciplined, and untouchable. By the next morning, Edison Middle School buzzed with a new kind of energy. The quiet boy, once invisible, was now the center of every conversation. Students who had ignored him, mocked him, or whispered behind his back now looked at him with a mix of awe and respect. His calm, measured presence carried a weight that the entire school could feel. The hallways no longer echoed with the casual arrogance of Marcus, Jamal, and Trent. Their laughter had been replaced with wary silence, the unspoken understanding that the quiet boy was no ordinary student. His every step through the school corridors drew glances of admiration, curiosity, and cautious respect. Ariana, the observant, classmate who had noticed the boy's discipline from the beginning, approached him quietly during science class. She had recorded portions of the incident from the hallway, the evidence that had cleared him in the principal's eyes. Sitting beside him, she didn't ask questions or make a show of friendship. Instead, she offered quiet acknowledgement, a simple, warm presence that mirrored his calm. Other students began to approach cautiously, curious about the boy who had handled 6 bullies without striking to harm a single one. Lunch tables that had once been solitary became shared spaces. Respect replaced fear. Admiration replaced ridicule. And in that quiet shift, the boy found something he hadn't felt since arriving in the city: belonging. The bullies were disciplined. Suspensions and administrative consequences ensured they would think twice before targeting anyone again. But the real victory wasn't punishment, it was understanding. The quiet boy had shown the school that strength wasn't measured by noise, aggression, or dominance. Strength was controlled, deliberate, and grounded in self-discipline. In the weeks that followed, the boy walked the halls with the same measured calm he had always had, but now with a subtle confidence that only comes from proving one's character. Students whispered his name, not in mockery, but in recognition of skill, composure, and resilience. Teachers noted his demeanor, his attentiveness, and his ability to remain undisturbed by the chaos around him. The final moments of the story were simple yet cinematic. He walked home after school, sunlight casting long shadows over the city streets. His backpack rested on one shoulder. His curly hair glinted in the golden hour light. He did not look over his shoulder. He did not flinch. He walked steadily, a quiet figure in a loud world. Finally at peace, finally in control, and finally recognized not for aggression, but for the calm power of restraint, observation, and self-discipline. Edison Middle School had learned a lesson about judging others by appearances. The bullies had learned a lesson about arrogance and underestimating the quiet ones. And the quiet boy, slim, shy-faced, light brown skin, curly hair, had found his place not by seeking attention, but by quietly commanding respect through skill, composure, and integrity. The story closed not with celebration or triumphal shouting, but with the cinematic beauty of peace restored, a calm after a storm, a quiet victory that resonated far louder than any fight ever could.